Tēnā koto, tēnā koto katoa. I'm Christina Hoppner and the Flans facilitator for this webinar. And before we get into it, let's start with our karakia to center us in today's session. Whaia te maturanga kia marama, kia whai take na mahi katoa, tu maia, tu kaha, aroha atu, aroha mai, tātou ia tātou katoa. On behalf of the Flexible Learning Association of New Zealand, I would like to welcome you very much to this session today with Yong Liu from Manukau Institute of Technology. And he's prepared something really special for us today, namely talking about course templates and how they can change teachers' perspectives, especially on how to create their course outlines in the learning management system in a much more pedagogical way than they might have done in the past. And this is research that he's been doing for the last few years. He is on the finishing stretch of his doctorate. So I'm really, really happy that he's taking time off from his research path and talking to us today about his research, what he has found, and also giving some practical tips on how course templates can help. Now, for everybody here in the room today, please do feel free to use the chat to ask any questions or make comments. And I will be keeping an eye on the chat. So if there's anything urgent, I will hand that question over to Yong, or otherwise we'll wait until his presentation is over and then have time for some questions. Just in case, I would like to remind you that Flans has a conference coming up in October that is all about Te Tangata, so the people, from the 7th to the 9th of October. Early bird registration is still possible until the 16th of August. So please make sure to secure the ticket early. And I, as well as other members of the executive committee of the association, look forward to seeing you then in Dunedin when it's a bit warmer and there's hopefully no snow anymore. But now let's head over to Auckland to Yong. Over to you.
Okay, thank you, Christina. Okay, I just bring my PowerPoint slides. And I share my screen and wait a minute. Okay, enable the sound and the screen.
Yes,
okay.
We can see your slides.
Thank you. Yeah. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this webinar. And today I'll talk about use the learning theories to embed into the course template to influence our teachers' teaching perspective. And I'm working at the Manukau Institute of Technology. And when we put many courses online, and our teachers, most of them are the professional in the face-to-face teaching, but they experience a big challenge because they need to look after for online things. And so that's why we try to help them to shift their teaching styles from the face-to-face to the online. So we create the course template, and also we try to help them to engage students. And later we find out not only they use this template can engage students, but also this template also can change their own teaching perspectives. And today I will talk about that. Okay, first I'll talk about how did we reach this idea about use the learning theory to embed into the course content to train the teachers? And secondly, which learning theories should we select and why? And third, I will show our course template and the real course and how the teacher use that to create their new one, and how we use that template to guide the teachers to create their online course. And also, how do we assess the effectiveness of this template? So next, how we arrange for this project. And of course, this project is part of my PhD and we call it EDD, yeah, and the Doctor of Education projects, and work together with Auckland Uni and MIT, and also the finding, the result. And at last, I'll call the calculation, conclusions about that. Okay, first, we start put the most course online from the worldwide trend of online learning, which is especially from the COVID. And when we move the teaching online, our teachers experience a big challenge. They are good at face-to-face teaching and to arrange the classroom activities. But the online is the first time they use that. They are not very good at the web page design and use the technologies and to create the multimedia enhanced course contents. Another thing, we also need train our teachers, but we need the resource. We need the reference. We need all the materials. And even we have got that, and our teacher told us, we are overloaded. We haven't got enough time. And we cannot find a same time all together and attending your training sessions. And it's hard for us. And so during that time, we think, okay, and at least we need to guide them to put some basic contents on the website. For example, the homepage, the discussions, or some things we must let them to put there, give to the student. Yes, we give the specifications. Say, look, here, please put the introductions. Here, please put something. But many of them won't follow that. They just copy and paste their lecture notes and some other materials, and Microsoft Word file, PDF file, take this website as a bookshelf. So we think we do need to give some trainings on that and also directly put the guidance and some examples, tips inside this course template. This template just like a training sessions inside the course template. And then each time they face the website, they face the course, they will see all this template and see these tapes. So that's the idea. We embed the teacher's training content in the course instruction. And of course, we tell the teachers, after you have created the course, please delete the guidance. Okay, what kind of learning theories are we using? And the first, and the constructivism. Why? Because the constructivists think knowledge is created by students from their exploration and interactions. And just like somebody tell you something, maybe next day you forget that. But if you do to look for some answers, you do work to find the answer, find the results, and it's hard for you to forget that. And at least it will remain in your brain for a longer time. And constructivism got several concepts. One is cognitive constructivism, which means students link the new knowledge with their existing one via the exploration. We call that learning by exploring. So for example, this is their existing knowledge. When they meet a new knowledge they never met, and then they try to link this new knowledge with their existing knowledge and use their existing knowledge to explain the new knowledge until they quite understand this new knowledge so that this new knowledge become their existing knowledge. This is the process they are learning. So this is the concept about the cognitive constructivism. Another concept of the constructivism is the social constructivism. I mentioned the best learning comes from communication and collaboration. They call the teaching by asking and group work. This is something actually they try to make the people be involved into the activities to get the knowledge rather than passively and remember that. The very good example is at my home. And for my son, he's 7 years old and in year three. And he now and learn the multiplications. So one evening I asked him, okay, you just recite and from your memory about the 6 times 6, 6 times 8, 7, 6 times 8, and 6 times 9. Just these four. He could not. I said, okay, that's fine. And then I list that and I wrote that and said, okay, read that 10 times and then come back to me and then recite that from your memory. He still, and some of them he can, but some he could not. I thought only four of them, and you cannot remember. It lasted almost half an hour. He could not. Oh, I was quite surprised and disappointed. But you guess what? If you talk about the dinosaurs, if you talk some other animals, he know everything and he tells you all the names of dinosaurs, where they live and what's their name and what the strengths and something. He know everything like a teacher and taught me. And also recently, the Minecraft and this is some animations things and he knew all the character names and all their relations. And also recently, the new TV series, I think, is K-pop Demon Hunters and the girls and the others. He know the name at school and he got problem to remember the vocabularies. But here, all the character names and he can spell that and know the relation of them and also can sing the songs. Actually, he only watched that, I think, mostly twice. But he talked with their classmates at school and he knew everything. So why? I think to compare, he could not, and for half an hour cannot remember the 6 times 6 equals what, 6 times 7, because he's not interested in that. He's passively and do that. But for this dinosaurs or this TV series, he's actively to put his attention on that, concentrate on that, and maybe involved in that. So that's the effective of the social constructivism. Of course, currently we use technology to help us to realize the social constructivism. So with the technology involved, we call this social constructivism connectivism. And actually, from 2008, I think New Zealand curricula already take the connectivism as the recommendations and the guidance for all the secondary school. Okay, we integrate all of this connectivism and constructivism into our course template. And currently we are using the Canvas, and Canvas actually is good, which already provided the tools as a discussion, collaboration, chat. But we have this tool doesn't mean all the teachers can handle these tools, can use these tools, engage students properly. So we still need to put the guidance, examples, and the tips inside that. Here, I just demonstrate some of our course and how we do that. Okay, first we should got the home page and some other page announcement. Okay, now I just go to this website. Okay, our Canvas site. I just bring that here. I try to make that bigger. Let me see. Okay. Okay. The school name, this is a template. School name, course name, and course code, and how many hours it takes, and the credits. Here is the guidance we ask the teachers. Read that after you create your course and delete that. So maybe the character is still small. I read that. This is a template for creating new Canvas course. You need to replace the existing content with yours. This template is underpinned by constructivism and connectivism learning theories, which emphasize learning by exploring and learning by communication. There are many in-text guides in each page and activity, which intend to guide you to properly create your e-learning course with good practice. Place your mouse over this blue dot for 2 seconds. Its in-text guide will pop up. So I put the cursor here. You see, it's well done. Oh, sorry, the character is small because it's the HTML code, so it's small. Please follow the instruction to create a good course content. So here, this is the introduction of the course. So if I put the cursor here, I just read that for you. This is the course front page. It will provide essential course info to the students, such as course overview, learning objectives, assignment info, announcement, lectures contact details, and the course timetable. From cognitive constructivist's point of view, students should be informed about the learning aim, procedure, so that they learn effectively. Here, welcome is also important to let the student feel being cared and supported. So this is the
busy, isn't it?
yeah.
You think it's too busy? I think ours is better. Because
Okay. Here, picture, we put it here. And we got, okay, I just read that because sorry, the character is too small. Yeah. This is the place to put an image relevant to the course nature. Be careful with the image patent. If necessary, you may need to require permission from the image author or acknowledge the source of this image. Here, course outline. I put it here, cursor. This link to the important course information. Of course, I link that. I click, it go to the syllabus page. Yeah, and put the cursor here. This is all about the course which the students are most interested in. Please also remind students to read this page carefully at the beginning of the class. From the constructivist point of view, students learn best when they know the learning aim, learning procedure, and achievement criteria so that they can review, reflect, or adjust their learning strategy to better fit the learning process. Because we need to tell our lecturers and how important it is, and this is a must-have thing. Otherwise, they just ignore that. So here, purpose. This part is very important to give students an overall impression about this course and what they will learn. Here, learning outcomes. This gives the student a learning target for them to aim. Providing an aim before learning is what cognitive constructivists suggested, which was being proven to work. Assignment. This is what the student most want to know. It tells them what will be assessed, when they will be assessed, and how they will be assessed. It's in which way and the score weight and which learning outcomes covered by each assessment. And the course marks. This section shows all the requirement for the student and the time arrangement for their study so that the student know how they are assessed and the bottom line of the study. You need to remind everyone to read this carefully and carry them out. Yeah, and these are the syllabus page. At the end of page, oh, sorry. Oh, not this one, not this one. Here. Do you have questions? On every page, we got this link. If you have questions, you click on that, you directly go to the discussion, and then you can post your questions and ask your teachers to answer, or your classmate can answer that. Just go back. So on every page, we got that. Of course, we go back to the home page, and here is a list. Normally is the one line because I made that. So normally it's like this. Yeah, I just made that bigger. So the layout a little bit changed, but you can see the characters. Okay, if I put the cursor here, this is a list of our course modules. You can also add assessment and activities here. We allow the student to select the learning sequence by themselves. This is what constructivism recommended, to let the student handle their learnings. This is from the student-centered learning. But for me, I still recommend the teachers and recommend the student to follow the sequence, and because it's from beginning to others. Yeah, of course, the student is free to just pick up any place to start to learn. Here, contact or the layout change a bit because the browser, I made the font bigger, so that's why. So normally the layout is like that, and made that bigger. Yeah, okay. Here the cursor, the tips. Your contact details are shown here. Try to encourage the students to contact you, especially in the online system. Your self-introduction is an ice-breaking start. Then encourage your student to introduce themselves to let the ball rolling. Make this self-introduction compulsory if possible. This is the way how online learning community is set up. And here is the introduction. If I click on here, it goes to the discussions. And I put it here. Meet and greeting in discussion. This is an ice-breaking start. You can introduce yourself by telling them who you are, your experience, your hobbies, your recreation, etc. Also, don't forget to welcome the students. Then let them introduce themselves by replying to this topic so that to let the ball rolling. The students will be familiar with each other. Make this self-introduction compulsory if possible. This is the way how online learning community is set up, which is recommended by the constructivist. Yeah, so here I give an example. And hello guys, I'm Yong Liu, and I'm your course lecturer or something. It's an enjoyment to stay with you guys and on the course delivery. And here I will tell you something. And here, please click on the reply button below to post your self-introduction. Here are a few tips get you started. Tell us your name, where are you from, and what city do you live, and what landmarks are important to you, why. Share the pictures of you, introduce your LinkedIn public URL, and share your PEHA, or it's a Molly name, about the self-introduction. Yeah, and the student click on reply, they introduce themselves. So this is the self-introduction. Okay. Yeah, here also is the chat and also discussions and the chat. Yeah, so put it here. Sorry, put it here. This field directly links to the discussion and the chat. To set up an online learning community, you need to encourage your students to talk and discuss with each other. Whenever they have a problem or puzzle, they can post their questions on the discussion board or chat with other classmates. This is what constructivists said, learning by discussion, learning by communication. Encourage your students to introduce themselves to get the ball rolling. Make this self-introduction compulsory if possible. Here is the announcement link. So directly link to the announcement. Put it here. Frequently, you need to send the student notice to connect with them. The welcome announcement is a must-have in your course to initially meet the students as a host or hostess. Please go to welcome and for the details about the guide. Okay, they click on here. They go to the announcement. Here, the welcome one. If I click on that and put the cursor onto the blue dot. This is the first announcement of the course. In Canvas, announcement should not only be a place for the notice posting, but also be a way to warm up the classroom, the learning environment. The post can be, but not limited to, topics such as kind reminder of the upcoming events, tips specifically for the current chapter, learning progress or potential problems, encouragement or cheer up messages. And here's an example of the announcement. Oh, sorry. Okay, now we go to modules. On the module 1 overview. Here we also got the guide. Module overview page. It will provide essential module info to the students, such as the module overview, learning objectives, and the resources. From the constructivist point of view, students should be clear about the learning aim and the learning procedure so that they learn effectively. Here, learning outcomes. This gives the student learning targets for this module. This is what the constructivists suggested. Providing aims before starting would give the student a clear idea about what to do, what to check, and what to expect. Here, resources. This is the place to put all support materials, references, and future reading for this module. You may need to give some students extra learning space for their advanced attempts. Yeah, next is activity. So we give the example of the activities to let the lecturers to follow. Here, I put there. Arrange the learning by encouraging the student to think. First, list some questions to the students. 2. Let them read or watch the teaching material to explore the answers. 3rd, then let them post their answers onto discussion board to talk, critique, and compare. 4. You, as a facilitator, summarize them. This is what the constructivist recommended as an effective learning approach. And here is the contents. Please watch the video on the right-hand side, which introduces the metric system. While you are watching, please think the following questions. Why the metric system matters? What was the obstacles to use the metric system? And what had it been how had it been accepted by teacher? So this is the video. And then they watch that. Okay, I just stopped that. Yeah. After you have watched, please finish the following tasks. 1. Post your answer onto the discussion forum. You cannot see others' answers until you post yours. 2nd, comment on other people's posts. And 3rd, reply to others' comments. So, and then here also you see, do you have questions? Every page we got to do have questions to let the student ask the lecturers if they got a question or problem. So click on that, they directly go to the discussions. This is the same like last page, just let the student post their answers. So I just skip that. Okay, and the end of this sections. And so at the end of a module or section, and put the cursor here. This is the last page of module, which should be a conclusion as a milestone. You need to summarize the knowledge they have learned and acknowledge their efforts. Providing relevant on-time feedback is essential to their learning. It also gives the student a space to reflect. This is the finish of sections. And also for the assessment, also it's important. We need to give the student and immediately feedbacks. What else I haven't introduced? Okay, here I have list just in case I forgot something, and I just list that. Announcement, yes. Syllabus, yes. Modules, yes. And completion page, discussions, yes. Self-introduction, yeah. And question and answer, yes. Oh, almost finished. Assessment. Yeah, the formative assessment I think I've already introduced, which is the discussions and post their answers onto the discussion about the video. Yes. Sorry. And the next, summative assessment. Okay, yes, summative assessment. Okay, here. Okay, put the cursor here. Summative assessment page. Your summative assessment need to include the following items: assessment title, score information, learning outcomes if relevant, assessment description, contact link to the facilitator in case students have problem or questions, rubric as marking criteria, Turnitin plagiarism checking tool for document-based submissions. Yeah. So this is the assignment details and put it here. People learn best when interact with the learning material, construct new material for others, interact with other students about the material, which is from the constructivism. Organize learning by encourage students to think and talk. Let them post their answers to the question on this discussion board to talk, critique, compare, and conclude with the team. This is the way to grow an online learning community to help students' online learning. Also, this is what constructivists recommended as an effective learning approach. So for this assessment, we list a group of questions and let the student as a group and then in a group to answer the questions and post their answer onto discussion forum and then comment on the other group's answers. And then also they need to reply to the other group, put the answer onto their own discussions to reply other groups' queries. And then after that, revise all their answers and put that onto a PowerPoint slide and then submit onto the assignment. So this is the Turnitin. So if Turnitin is used, the following disclaimer must be shown here. Turnitin is a tool to check the plagiarism and for the student and also check the AI involvement inside the assessment. And also here, the metric, the rubric. This is the marking criteria, which gives student transparent access guide. Here also got the, if you have questions. And this is, I practice and submit my work. I submit the same word and into several assignments. So the Turnitin, the read is 100% copied from others because of copy from my one and in another assignment. Okay, these are examples of our course template. Not only got the placeholders and also got the guidance and tips and the constructivism or connectivism recommendations. And for them, each time they see a new course, when they create a new course, they will see that. And also they can follow the examples to create their own one. Gradually, they're getting used and also they feel it engage the student. And then they like that, they continue use that. Okay, how do we assess this template? So we use the teaching perspective inventory, we call the TPI, which is an online questionnaire to determine people's teaching orientations. It's a free one. And the link is in my reference list at the end of this PowerPoint slide. And this questionnaire got 5 teaching perspectives to investigate. So they ask questions to determine which teaching perspective these users or these teachers turned to. So first teaching perspective or approach is transmission. This is just like our traditional one, and which is the teachers transfer knowledge to the student. And I teach you and on the classroom and explain that and answer your questions. You also be asked. You are asked to answer questions. I give you homework, and later I'll assess you. And this is our traditional face-to-face teaching one. And another apprenticeship. This is something just like, for example, if I'm a teacher, I say, okay, I do that, and you watch what I have done. And then after that, we do that together. And then I found your problem, I pointed out, and then you improve that. After that, you do that. So it's a mentor and to support the student and to get the competence of their skills. We call that apprenticeship and the development. And here in the TPI, they call that developmental, and sometimes we call that development, which is the way the teachers and encourage the student link their existing knowledge to the new knowledge to recommend them to search and to do the further think to explore their potential abilities. And third, nurturing. This is something, and we encourage the student, scaffolding the student to let them to achieve their the tasks and solve the problems. And if got a problem, and then the teacher support and help, and then continue towards solve the problems. So this is the nurturing. The last one is social reform. Not only recommend students for study, but also emphasize the outcomes, the influence to the societies, how the student contributions to the society, to the environment, how it influence the societies. And yeah, I got experience. When I was at university, and that was the Beijing University of Aeronautics and Astronautics. And the first day, our teacher told us, "Hey guys, the future will be yours. You will be the designer of our next generation of the aircraft, and next generation of the missiles, and the next generation of the air and spaceship. And how bright the future will be depend on how work hard you are and how well you work. And you will change the future, and you will change our national defense and change our Air Force." Yeah, we are quite excited. And they always recommend us and ask us to go to the aircraft gallery, which got all the PLA aircrafts and also some old aircraft from the World War II and the Korean War, and some aircraft from American or from Europe or somewhere, and also missiles and the aircraft engines and also the new engines, and said, I hope I can see your engine from here, and something like that. And we are very excited. And yeah, 4 years later, and my graduation and was a real project, and to create a automatic guiding system for the active omni-guided ballistic missile. Yeah, and it's quite good. And we publish the articles, of course, internally inside the China. And yeah, time's flying. Currently, I'm in New Zealand, become an e-learning advisor. Who knows? You never know, and in the future, what you will do. Okay, talk too far. Okay, there are three aspects also in each perspective. We call the teaching belief, teaching intention, and teaching action. Teaching belief is what do you think about the teaching? The teaching is you transfer knowledge from yours to the student, or you just facilitate the student, let them to explore knowledge by themselves. And all the teaching intentions, you intend to ask a question to student to check their understand what you taught and give them homeworks, and or you just arrange the environment to recommend them for communications or interactions. And the teaching actions, and you assess them, and you give them tutorials, and you check them and you talk with them, or you give the discussion topics, or you arrange a task that the group to work together. So all of these are different. So we will use this TPI to do the test. And here, the 5 teaching perspectives, 3 of them have a close link to the connectivism and the constructivism. For example, apprenticeship. It emphasizes to establish communities of practice to develop competencies and identities. So it's just a mentor to help the student and to guide the student in pair and to show that and to guide them. So this is just like a social constructivism. Another one, for example, developmental or some we call development, and it try to link new knowledge to existing knowledge to dig the student's potential to let them to develop their abilities. Yeah, and nurturing, which emphasize on scaffolding, support, help student for their study to success. Yeah. So after the pupils answer all the questionnaire and their result will be shown like this. And so the 5 teaching perspectives, they got each scores. The score, higher the score means they're teaching more close to this teaching approach. On each one, we also got the teaching beliefs, teaching intentions, and teaching actions. And they also got the scores. So we got all this data. And before they use the course template and after they use course template, we do the comparison and see if there's big change. Okay, how did we arrange this project? So first, we are looking for the participants from the schools. And we use the G-power, which is the statistical and tool, and we calculate the minimal numbers for this test should be 16 participants. So we recruit 17 participants from the nursing, construction, and business, ICT, and health and consulting. Yeah. So all of them need to be minimum 1 year of face-to-face teaching experience. And they haven't used the course template before. Of course, we haven't published that for them. And agree to take the TPI survey twice and 2 interviews. So when we collect the data in the phase 1, which is before they use the course template, and we let them do the TPI survey to get the initial teaching perspective. And also, we do a one-on-one, face-to-face, semi-structured interview to check their teaching intentions and beliefs and actions. So these are the questions. What do you think about online teaching? This is their beliefs. What is the responsibility of an online teaching? To see their teaching intentions. And what is your best way to conduct online learning? To see their actions. And last question, what factors influence student engagement in online learning? This depends on their answer, and either is from their teaching beliefs or is related to their intention or action. Depends on their answer. Okay, phase 2, after they have used the course template for a semester, and then we do the same TPI surveys and we do the same interviews, and so to get another group of data to do the comparison. There's another stories, and after the second interviews, and one of the teachers, and when I prepare for the interviews, he told me he's sick and just finished surgery. And he's still lying on the bed. I said, okay, don't worry about that. We recovered, we do these interviews. No, he said he persisted, do this interview tomorrow. And second day, I said, no. You just got surgery. You're still on the bed and we cannot. At least wait for a month or something. No, he said, I persist. You take this and interviews and tomorrow. So we arrange a remote and Microsoft Teams virtual and face-to-face and interview. I just try to shorten this interview and to just don't want him, and I mean takes too long time. But he told me about how they use the template, everything, and told me very much. And then told me many other things about his history, some things, and yeah, I was very much appreciated. Guess what? 3 months later, he passed away. And then I fully understood why he persists to talk with me, even he is still on the bed. I was deeply moved by his noble and selfless spirit. That is our lecture. Yeah. Okay, findings. And we use Envivo and software to get all these interviews, all the transcripts, and then categorize that and analyze that. Here are some quotes from them for the second interview. I believe that teaching is the way to have a discussion and to learn together from the discussion. It's the answer that comes from the consultation or from the dialogue. My responsibility for teaching online is to give enough time for exploration. Another one. I think that's a good way of thinking, of making them working together as a group and to get to know one another and to teach one another. Another one. So never give them the answer straight away. Help them take it from their knowledge. And then you can gauge or live with the students. That's how I do my step in teaching. And another one. It's delivery in a way that it is a collaboration rather than just teaching, which is in a way that not just collaborate, but engage with activities, creativity, and making it fun. So this is what they said. So I haven't changed any word, anything. Okay, for the quantitative research, and we use the t-test to test the two group data before and after they have used the course template, and the result. And we can find I used a reader chat just to list the three teaching perspectives: apprenticeship, development, and nurturing. We can see each of, the dark one is the datas and before they use course template. The brown one is the one they had after they have used the course template. So you can see the apprenticeship, the score of apprenticeship and the developmental increased. That means they're more close to the constructivism. The interesting thing is the nurturing. You can see it seems after using the course template, it improved the score increased not too much. And why? Because this is also easy to understand. Most of our teachers were the face-to-face teaching. On face-to-face teaching, nurturing encouragement and encourage the student to solve the problems, help the student, and the scaffolding all the features of the face-to-face teaching. So face-to-face, they are good and have the good strategy to teach. So that's why even before they use the course template, their face-to-face teaching give them the experience to how to nurturing the students. That's why even before they use their score already high. So that's why and the reader chat is like this. And also their beliefs and intentions also increased the score. You see this one, the inside one is before they use course template. The outside one is after they have used the course template. This is the belief. This is the intentions. So it seems that all the scores, these three teaching perspective increased. That means their teaching approach towards the constructivist or connectivism teaching approach. Okay, almost finished. Okay, conclusions. First, constructivism and connectivism can be integrated effectively in the course template. Teachers are guided by in-text guides, examples, and placeholders. And the teacher's professional development can be done inside the course template. And this will save their time. And also, from time to time, remind them what they should do. The course template can change teachers' teaching perspectives, yes. And initially we think they cannot change the teacher's teaching style. They can only help the teachers to engage students. But actually, when they use that day to day, they gradually, the teacher's perspective gradually also be changed. It engages students in their online learning, of course. And it supports the technology enhanced learning. That's it. And here is my reference. And yeah, I just leave that for several seconds so that, and later you can refer back to these references.
Thank you
Okay,
very much, Yong.
question. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you so much for taking us through through one of your courses and outlining the many different places where the additional instructions can help lecturers provide better context. And as Tabitha also put into the chat, that she's been using course templates to help subject matter experts with writing style consistency in a narrative form using Bloom's taxonomy. And that is particularly useful then for subject matter experts that are not educators. Do we have any questions from the room? Are you already doing something similar to Yong and have some additional ideas, or do you find what he's been doing with the targeted instructions useful and might like to implement something similar in your own practice?
Sorry, and what's the question?
Oh, that's a question for the room. If
Oh,
anybody
sorry.
does already something similar to you, or would want to implement it in their own LMS. Early on, I think I heard somebody saying that they already do something similar and might have some experience with that as well.
Good, good. Yeah. If currently and you cannot find some question or something, my email is here, and also you can send the email to me, and then we also can later talk. And as soon as you find some questions and send me email, yeah, I can reply. No problem.
Just before I chatter along, anybody, and if anybody wants to say anything, feel free to use the microphone or type into the chat. I find the idea really cool to have the instructions embedded in the course and make them available to lecturers when they need them. So when they are editing the course, rather than needing to refer back to a PDF or some instructional design course where things are written down, because that way the information is more immediately available, readily available, and therefore nicely there. Okay, somebody is saying that they particularly like the instructions embedded into the course. Please do feel free to grab the microphone if you want to expound on that a bit, or if you have any questions for Yong.
That's fine. And if you want anything, send me email. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
no problem.
So Yong, from one, then maybe one final question from me is, oh, there we have a question. Is it expected that teachers will do all of the online development work for their courses?
Good question. Actually, I work in the academic center, and my job is to help the teachers to develop their online course and also do the quality check and pick up the course which is got the problem. So normally, and especially for this project, and I give them the guide, and doesn't mean I just leave that and I won't. Actually, from time to time, I come back and ask them and how's going and is there any problem. Actually, they always come back to me and Yong, and here you said this one, and but how can I do that? And I don't know. And can you please just help me? And sometimes they say, Yong, can you please do that for me? I say, okay, okay. I just give you examples, or I just give you a start, and then you just do that. And something, and yeah, many times they start, and not only for the participants for them, but also for the other teachers. Actually, we got two versions of this template. One is just template without any tips and something, just for the normal teacher. And one with this one is just for these 17 participants. And but for all the teachers, include these participants, I all need support. This is my job. So yeah, each time, some of them, they just develop by themselves. And some of them have got a very good ICT background and they know the web page design, everything. But some of them got quite much difficulties, and some of them quite old. And it's hard to let them to learn something. And so I just help them and give them guide. But I
Mhm.
won't do 100% for them. because
Okay.
otherwise next time they got big problem. So this actually is our policy. We help them and we I mean scaffolding framework for them, but we will not completely do that for them. Yeah.
Mhm. And final question from the chat before we finish the session is you've said that there are 17 people that participated in this trial. And so the question is, how much would it take to scale that up for an entire institution?
Uh, so you mean uh
So if you rolled it out to all the lecturers at Manukau, what would it take to add those guiding questions, guiding comments into every single course?
You mean how for this one, this is just a test project, and
Hmm.
how we spread that to all the institute
Yes.
wide.
Hmm. Yeah.
It's easy because we are creating the course template. We just change all the template to this template. That's it. So it's easy on the canvas. We just all the courses are created automatically because we link the course with our EBS, the database. So when the new course come up, it directly fit into the Canvas. Canvas automatically create the course, enroll the students, and we just put this template and into the settings so that whenever they create a new course, blank course, they will add this template into that automatically. So when the teacher see the course, all the template, all the tips, everything already there. So we need to do anything. And of course, we need to, from time to time, do the adjustment. Some of them I got feedback, Yong, yeah, this one maybe is redundant and you can remove that. And you need to add something, we just do the adjustment. Just the adjustment the template, and then template directly linked to the canvas. Whenever we get a new course, the new template will automatically add into the course. So does needn't we do anything. All the teachers see the template, but we need to help them. When they got a problem, they come to us, we help them to develop. Or sometimes I just randomly pick up from the schools and see, oh, I mean, how many students use this template and how they use that. And sometimes I just go to the school, ask the teachers, and here I think, and we may add something, but we need to talk with them, not the order with them, because sometimes you tell them something you can only recommend, whether they listen or not, it's from their own. And that's why later our academic center, our general manager changed our positions. Before we called the academic advisor. Now we call the academic partner. Advisor is I advise you, you can remember that, and you can accept that, you can reject that. But partner is different. I'm partner, I'm working with you, and you must listen. Yeah, but still, and to implement that is easier. But to help for each teachers to fully understand to create a course is a big job. So we got a group called the Flexi Mode, and all got the web designers, and also got the helpers and help the teacher, and me also help the teachers. So from time to time, we will answer the phone and go to the schools and check with them. Yeah, it's a big job. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Yong, for explaining a bit how easy it can be if you're using one template across an uh, entire institution. At the University of Auckland, Samuel wrote that they hired 10 learning technologists to roll out templates across 90% of the first year courses, and that was a project of a year and a half. And after that, it became BAU, so business as usual for learning designers to support the template rollout. But the responsibility lies within the faculty. And so I assume that, Samuel, you're using different templates. So you're not just having a single template across all courses, but that you're customizing the templates then to the faculties because they might also have different requirements on activities. Whereas as far as I've seen, the template from Jung is very generic in terms of they're looking at the pedagogical elements, irrespective of the subject matter content.
Thank you.
Now, there's definitely still more conversations that can be had around it, and also maybe a template swap would be something to do at our upcoming conference for Flexible Learning Association of New Zealand, which is going to be held from the 7th to the 9th of October. And early bird registration closes on the 16th of August. After that, it's slightly more expensive. So if you want to come along and also look around somebody else's course and check out what they are doing, have a chat with them over break or during a session, please do make sure to come along to this in-person event so that we are not just seeing each other here online. But for today, thank you so much, Yong, for outlining your research project and what you have done. So I'll just be
Thank you.
closing our session with a karakia. Kia whakaira te tapo, kia wātea ai te ara, kia toroki ki whakataha ai, kia toroki whakataha ai. Homye, hoye, tai kie. Thank you everybody for coming and have a wonderful rest of your day.